Had to say it in English, the natural language.
Oh God. Okay. Okay.
That's funny. I wonder, like in those cultures when they're making love, if they're like talking dirty using that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could imagine. Now, is that like that is? I've never actually looked up the like backing story behind that. Is it like do they actually only use clicks and that's their entire way of communicating, or do they use like other speech normally, but clicks are reserved for certain things like you know during war? I don't know or
You didn't see that Liver King video?
no.
Let me see if I could. Oh, why do I need to start collapsing tabs on my browser? Oh, Rose. My name is Scott. I rode down the block. Well, I think this is it over here. No,
Okay,
no.
so they're talking normal.
Where is it at?
The Liver King. That guy. Matt, he's singing he had to eat all that. I wonder if he still eats all that liver and stuff if he's on a raw.
What about you? Package. Ate?
So the clicks kind of just happen
Kumbia.
as part of other
How about you?
speech.
Kukunja.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Ate?
Oh man, his teeth are.
Akatabit. Patata? Akatabit.
Is it just happening? Like,
What's your name, man? Ngon.
huh?
Where is
That guy fell off the face of the planet though. After he got outed for using steroids.
What is he doing in Africa?
I don't know. Probably doing like.
Oh, he's in Peru too.
Probably doing like hunts, fake hunts or something, simulated hunts, hunting maybe even. I don't know. Today, what do we have on the menu? Testicles.
I mean, I never like.
It's so stupid. Raw testicles.
I never really watched this stuff. I can't find the video.
He'd be like, "What's on the menu today, boys?" Or he was chef. The guy was always he'd have these big testicles that he had to eat. Who was gonna eat? I don't know.
Maybe it was on the TikTok video or something.
Anybody who was following that guy for like health advice, I can understand. Like,
I think this is it right here.
Awful.
What up, Primals? We're here with none other than the best Bushman, the Hudson.
It's like it's merged into their language.
Here we go.
Yeah.
It's like a syllable in their. It's like a syllable that they use. It's like a letter.
Nuts. God, stop clicking.
We are headed out for a hunt. Here we go.
Yeah. Hold up.
I wonder if that's the same mechanism as people use for beatboxing. like, I don't know, they can make noises with their throat that just like I just have no idea how they make.
What? Oh, I'm spitting. Hold up.
Well, when they're like, you know, you know.
Like that.
Yeah, but then they like mix in like I don't know. Or like that guy from Police Academy. You remember that movie? The guy he could make all those noises with his mouth and just replicate sound.
Should bring beatboxing back.
Like there's this one where he does where the guy was on a couch doing, I don't know, a talk show or whatever, and he does like I don't know if it's like an AC/DC or some sort of song or something like that, and he just nails it. All the beats, the guitar, singing, everything. Oh, let me see if I can find that. Oh yeah, here we go. We gotta love by Led Zeppelin is what he does. Hold on, let me see if I can share this too. I'm gonna drop it in the chat chat, but
My name is Scott. All I do is so Sean, man. It's been less than a month, and look at look at this. You see those green checks?
nice.
And so, I mean, the stuff that really matters is this right here. Still not sure if I'm going to do the change approval board one. Let's assume that the change approval board is out. It's Death March that Odie didn't really even do anything on. Scope creep, watermelon reporting, management by metrics.
So what's the reasoning behind the ordering of these? I'm just curious. I feel like if it's supposed to follow a project. Okay.
So Ready, Set, Go, Death March, that seems natural, right? In regards to sequence of events.
Yeah, it's the scope creep one that is getting me coming after Supernova release.
Scope creep I created the outline yesterday.
Oh, because it seemed to me like this follows an order. Ready, Set, Go is the start of a project.
Yeah.
There is always like a really good like moment at the beginning of a project where you're really, I feel like everyone just kind of like, yeah, let's get going. And then you get into the scope creep and then the Death March, because things just keep like, you think it's going to be this small thing and then whatever. So then you do this. It's like Ready, Set, Go, scope creep, Death March, Supernova, firefighting. Well, yeah, I don't know. Watermelon reporting. I don't know how that fits in. And then the Royal Rumble meetings are also probably more like during the Death March. But
you didn't hear the
yeah.
joke.
What? Oh no, I didn't. I'm just curious. I mean, maybe
you
not.
Said watermelon reporting. I don't know where that fits in. I said it has black people in it.
Well, that's why I wouldn't know where it fits in. I'm not one of the.
So you're saying this right here?
Yeah. I was just wondering what the ordering, like why the ordering was the way it was. If it's supposed to follow like a sequential project, like Scope Creep coming after the big release is feels kind of wrong. So it's like unless this is like non-linear, which is fine.
No,
I just wanted to know the idea behind the ordering.
The vision is supposed to be linear, but it's also an art. Like, how do you take these disparate subject areas within a project and thread it such that they fall into a sequence of events? And it's not as clear how to do that as one would assume. Like this, I think you mentioned earlier, like this watermelon reporting, that looks like, at first glance, it looks like it would probably go right under Death March, right? Because
Well,
it's delayed. Management
oh, I see. So I was I
with
was interpreting watermelon reporting as the probably what management by metrics is. I was
so
thinking it was reporting on the state of the actual product after the release, not the project. But now it makes a lot more sense.
it's reporting status, and so this is the title that Odie came up with, and and I was like, "What is watermelon reporting?" And he said that it's green on the outside, red on the inside, meaning that there's middle management is between middle management and developers. They're complicit in misleading leadership on status. They may be demoing features that are hard coded to only do one thing and not really adapt to do anything else. Uh, they may be pointing to numbers or metrics that are completely misleading. They're not being transparent with the legitimate status that leadership needs in order to make informed decisions. They're obfuscating it.
Gotcha. So like it would actually be good. I see. I don't think having hard coded features and going through them to get feedback is wrong, as long as you've got as long as they're aware that that's what's going on. Like this is all
So
fake.
so that's so this is like one order, right?
Hmm.
Um, given given your partial feedback, but then another consideration is like putting the highest priority of or putting the matter of interest higher up in the order of chapters. So for example, I would imagine firefighting would be of higher interest than watermelon reporting.
Yeah, yeah. In a like a non-linear sense, it would be. So when you have the narrative between these, do you have the characters going through an
Yes.
arc? Okay, so
Yes.
order does matter a lot.
But
Yeah.
like I said, like it's an art, and I'm trying my hardest not to let the reader know that it's being forced. Um, but like my second round after the first draft of the book is completed, which I'm hoping it gets completed probably within the next at the rate that I'm going, because I think I'm optimizing as I learn how to work with AI. I'm thinking I'm going to be done with the chapters, not the conclusion or the introduction or the preface. That stuff could probably be knocked out in one day, all of them in one day. But I'm thinking that I could probably wrap up. I still don't know if change approval board is going to go in, but even if it did, change approval board, management by metrics, watermelon reporting, death march. I'm thinking that I can knock these out probably within the next 14 days, seeing that I'm getting faster.
Basically.
I knocked out hero culture yesterday, start to finish, with the exception of I created the outline the night before, and then I began work yesterday morning and I completed it uh, yesterday evening.
Cool.
So I guess my question is, what do you think is going to be more effective? And when I say effective, maintain reader attention such that they get through the entire book. The series of events that tend to flow, quote unquote, naturally on a software development project, or placing the order based on reader interest from start to finish, such as Ready Set Go, Death March, Supernova Release, Firefighting. These two, I think, tend to garner the most interest for people that are struggling to manage a software project. But then the scope creep, hero culture, watermelon reporting, maybe Royal Rumble meetings, maybe that could also be in the starting five.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like another logical ordering that makes sense. But if you could plug and play these, then yeah, I mean any order. You could go with like start with the release, and then do the whole how did we get here type of thing. But then that would put firefighting culture later, so it's
Nah. So Ready Set Go, I believe right now definitely has to be the first chapter, and the reason is if I were recently hired to be a manager, I'm going to be quickly, especially if I start my position in a week or in 2 weeks, I'm going to be consuming as much material as possible to get me prepared for my first day or my first week of work. I'm going to have this imposter syndrome uh, pressing on me, and I really want to quote unquote manage expectations my very first day, let alone week, and demonstrate why they hired the right person. And I think Ready Set Go basically drills into what not to do when during a project kickoff.
So what is this? So just from the novel telling story part of this, like Ready Set Go, what happens in Ready Set Go? Is it like how does it end? What's the like cliffhangery type thing, or what's the carrot that brings you to the next chapter?
Are you asking
Or the tension
how does
that
it
makes you want
start
to read
and
more?
how does it end?
Because you're writing this like a compelling novel on top
Yeah.
of
So Ready Set
and
Go
it's design of
is Ready Set Go is there's a board meeting that involves investors, corporate partners,
Mhm.
and staff, and the CEO with his interesting Hollywood personality loves being in front of the camera. In this case, the webcam on a virtual conference makes a announcement saying that they've been losing market share, and it's been acknowledged by investors and also competitors in the market that keep consuming market share, and that they prepared a response. So Titan Bank is introducing their latest product, Titan Ledger, that's going to streamline the business, and it's going to meet the market expectations for where the industry is headed. So he makes this announcement on a virtual forum with stakeholders, and this is like news to middle management, is news to the developers. And so after he makes it, and then he follows up with the announcement of it's going to be delivered in 12 months. And so then all of a sudden the mic drops metaphorically, and there's just static background noise. And Kwaku and Melvin, Kwaku hasn't been hired yet. Melvin, Victor, and Sarah, some developers, some managers, they're like, their mouths drop. Some of them glance at each other in disbelief, and that's how the chapter starts. And we could thank Odie for that introduction. And then the way that it ends is, well, let me start about the plot. So the plot is all of a sudden we don't have time. We only have 12 months. We need to get we need to hire architects. We need to allocate developers. We need to get or project managers. We need testers. Go, go, go. Let's get this done in 3 weeks. So it takes a month to get that done. And now that they have the staff, Kwaku comes in after the first week of the CEO's announcement for the product. And Kwaku still is trying to iron out the architecture that the software or the product relies on. But managers, there's like 4 managers. Each of them have their own development teams. They're like, dude, including the VP of engineering or the CTO, they're like, dude, get on with it. Like we have our staff waiting, and we're burning budget because they're just sitting on their hands right now. We need to give them work. And Kwaku is like, well, that's not my problem. Like we need to be thoughtful on what it means to deliver this product, and we need to make sure that as we're delivering this product, it's sustainable in nature, and we don't end up running into hella issues and disruptions as a consequence. So this requires meticulous thought. We need to plan the development effort. We need to really understand what it means, all the dependencies, at least that we could think of. What work can be done in series? What work can be done in parallel? Who are the teams? Like all this stuff needs to be planned out before we just start writing code. And management is like, nah, F that. Like just let's start. And so, that sets the precedence for a lot of problems. And then a consultant comes in and advises and kind of sides with Kwaku, the architect, on the reason why things aren't getting done, why the dominoes aren't falling in place at the time that they expected.
Contractor's never gonna side with the architect.
Yeah, and so then
Anyways.
so Melvin, the project manager, he starts realizing that Kwaku is right, and so they start making adjustments. And then once some of that noise gets reduced and there's a little bit more structure, with emphasis on a little bit, the chapter ends with there's like two months left, and then in Melvin's office with Kwaku, they're talking about the trajectory of the project, and then the deadline that's looming. And then Melvin says, oh man. And then they look at each other, and Melvin says, we're about to enter a death march. And then that enters into the next chapter, hence Death March. And then the thought, I haven't written Death March yet, right? But at the end of Death March, someone's going to have a revelation about the high pressure release of the product and how it's going to be on the world stage for everybody that was present at that virtual boardroom conference. And so, like, these all are supposed to build to the next stage of issues and drama, really the next stage of drama. This whole book is meant to be a novel of drama, at least the first 3 chapters. Royal Rumble meetings maybe isn't as much drama as it is a realization of meetings being another fire that needs to be put out. And a fire is a problem, but what's the definition of a problem? A problem is really a culmination of symptoms. And every problem has 3 factors to consider: the occurrence of when it was recognized that this is a problem. The escape, what were the stages that could have pacified that problem or those symptoms, but didn't. It didn't get caught. And then the systemic factor of what were the series of events that that graduated this flame into an inferno that now just has severe consequences and disruptions to what we're trying to accomplish. And so that the Royal Rumble meetings, Melvin has a revelation saying these meetings is just another fire that has to be put out. And then he goes through remembering his conversation with the consultant on, the various stages of what leads to a fire, and what they need to do in regards to conducting root cause analysis to stamp it out.
What's the climax of the book? ...
I don't know. I think that I would think the climax is you said of the book, because I've been focused primarily on each chapter and the arc for each chapter. But I guess the climax would be, okay, this is where I need your help. A climax is different from a finale, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean the finale, the big finale is usually the climax, and then there's usually like a some sort of follow-up closing stuff after it. But it's supposed to, well, like in a traditional novel structure, it's supposed to be when you're like, the way that was described to me is when your hero or your set of heroes or your antagonists basically are met with their biggest challenge, and they're given like,
It's the firefighting one.
they're
But
given
that's
2 doors, and it's like they're both bad. But then they come up with a third door, and then defeat whatever it is that you didn't expect. But that, I don't know that it fits that with that kind of.
so the way that I'm interpreting you explaining,
Yeah.
and all the videos that I've consumed for the past 3 weeks, it seems like the climax is the build up before, kind of like sex. It's the build up, and then it's the finally release, and everything is like chill again.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's the
So
resolution
it
of
seems
all.
like that would go. It seems like that would go like within the last 2 to 3 chapters.
Yeah. In a traditional like 3-act structure, it's at the middle or of the 3rd act. So it's I think the way it is like the first act, there's this climbing action, and then you end up with like a big problem that needs to be solved, like a big problem, an
Firefighting
exciting
is
incident.
so firefighting chapter is the most dramatic because that's a buildup of Ready Set Go, fiasco, the Death March, which hasn't been written yet, fiasco, the Supernova release post the Death March, fiasco. And so firefighting is supposed to be like the consequence of all those buildups. And then there's maintenance mode um, of Royal Rumble meetings. It's firefighting, but the question is, well, if you see firefighting shows up so early, like it's the maybe 4th chapter of the book, but the purpose of the book, regardless of it being written as a novel,
Mhm.
is to help project managers and or software developers navigate the anti patterns of managing a software project. And so it's supposed to be instructional. And so the art or the challenge is, how do you keep it instructional based on a series of events that tend to be a pattern order, but yet still satisfy the factors for what makes a great novel that you alluded to. I don't know.
Well, novels can be written in many forms, so I wouldn't get too hung up on structure. saying like the classic 3x structure is this like build up to a big like an initial problem,
Yeah,
and then
so
you have like people dealing with the problem thinking they overcome it, and then they have some bigger problem that occurs. Then they're at their lowest moment, and then they basically, you know, figure out, have some sort of epiphany that leads them to the climax, and then they, you know, there's this big payoff at the end. I wonder if you could do your like a set of 3 acts too. Like I could imagine the first act being Ready Set Go, and then your Death March, then your Supernova release, with the Supernova release being like that initiating event where at the end of Act 1 where, oh shit, now you've done this huge ass release, this big thing, and then now the real pain comes, kind of a deal. So then
yeah, I think you have
hold
a
of the
point.
project after, like, okay, we've released it. Now they get a whole, you know, they deal with the aftermath, and they get up to a point where they feel like they can, you know, the project is going well, and then something else probably should happen. I don't even know what that would be, because the
So
rest of the topics are not like events. So like Ready Set Go is an event, the Death March is an event, Supernova release is an event.
hero culture definitely either comes here after Supernova release or comes here after firefighting. I I think it. Oh, crap. I think it probably would go right before firefighting because it doesn't. This would be a better position than if it came after firefighting.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the content. I mean, I could imagine hero culture being the third one there. So you have firefighting, Royal Rumble, and then hero culture, with the introduction of the heroes being, you know, kind of like your end of Act 2. Like, I don't know, it's actually a big problem. Like, so what is it? How does hero culture end? Does it like tell me it ends with somebody important leaving?
Um.
like the oh shit moment at the end of.
So yeah, without me going off of a tangent and staying on topic due to your question, there's people that leave and then come back. I haven't really terminated anybody that just leaves. But your question was, how does it end? You would think I would remember because I finished this last night. Okay, so a developer collapses.
Oh, does he literally get hit by the beer truck? That'd be hilarious.
No, he doesn't really.
Because you know how he like, I don't know if you've been in meetings where like, well, if Sean gets hit by the beer truck, then who's going to be covering this feature?
I'll just read the last part of this because honestly, I haven't read this yet. Believe it or not, I haven't read the chapter.
I would honestly, I'm just thinking about like this arc where like this hero developer comes out and like solves some big problem. And then at the very end, the very last thing is he gets hit by a beer truck.
Well, what happens? I mean, it's close. What I'm looking at is the hero developer whose name is John.
Yeah.
He it looks like he's giving a presentation or a demo, and then he appears to like be dealing with some type of physical issue while he's on stage, and then he collapses.
Oh, I got you.
And so the Innovate X demo was underway, the air thick with forced smiles. John stood near the back, trying to appear calm, but the room felt unsteady. Adrenaline gone, only bone-deep weariness remained, the throb in his chest persistent. He glanced towards his desk, picturing the action figure. The monitor's glow flickered, shapes across the desk. The figurine stared back, crooked, silent. Maybe a fleeting, desperate thought surfaced. Maybe I could still make it through this one. He grabbed his phone, maybe to text Laura. Tell Max I'm coming. But the screen fractured into meaningless pixels before he could type. His heart knocked at the back of his ribs. Light turned jagged. Max's voice, real. Memory. He blinked, but the room didn't blink back. Air too thick. Can't breathe. Then nothing. Knuckles white. He braced against a chair as flashes hit him. Missed deadlines. Victor's strained face. Max waving last year. Shaking his head, he stepped forward, but the floor rushed up. Darkness swallowed the room as his knees buckled. The indispensable man crumpled. The invisible cape dropped, heavy as lead. No applause this time. And then I don't
Did
feel
it
like
start?
reading through the last chapter,
Did
but
it start?
at the end it says, even the cape of a hero burns. It says something in here like that.
Yeah. Did this chapter start with him getting his 8th COVID booster shot?
No, it doesn't. I see you want to make this a comedy.
No, just no. I don't know that I would make it a comment, but I do think
Or
I think it's funny that if he literally got hit by the beer truck or the school bus, it's one of the two. It's they talk about getting if I get hit by a bus,
yeah.
or a beer truck. You know?
Always say. I said it in a meeting, and I kind of got scolded for it. Where I was like, well, what if so and so or myself gets shot, then how are we going to adapt? And they're like, Scott, why would you say that, man?
What? Like, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be in a meeting thinking that's just a way it could happen. I mean,
I live in the inner city.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
actually, I mean, I don't. I live in a Jewish neighborhood of the inner city.
Yeah.
Orthodox Jewish neighborhood. Where is that asterisk at? Hold up. I saw something.
The silent asterisk, maybe. I was there. You were there, and then you moved it. There, silent. It's line 124, middle.
Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, so it ends by the hero developer collapsing and requiring medical attention and is going to be out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it ends, Sean.
Gotcha.
So if we go back to the chapter stuff, I still think hero culture is after software goes into production. Both of these are, I think, hero culture and firefighting is when something's already in production. And
so do you eventually get to a point where you've got where the like there's some good pattern or example, like like is there a
yes, each chapter there's progression or there's progress where they realize the issue and then they make tiny adjustments that curtail those issues, but the issue still isn't 100% extinguished. And so each chapter builds on some of those issues or attempts to resolve those issues. And then there's the whole thing is a learning journey for Melvin.
Gotcha. So this is from Melvin's perspective.
It's
or
primarily from Melvin's perspective, but it also has some chapters have perspectives from other characters. So like Ready Set Go, the perspective is from Kwaku, the architect. Supernova Release, the perspective is primarily Melvin's.
Okay, so it's Game of Thrones style. Where you've
because the whole thing is supposed to be management, and Melvin's
Yeah.
project manager. So I've been struggling not to force the perspective to be from engineers.
Gotcha. Does Melvin turn into a Scrum Master at some point?
There's no Scrum Masters in here.
Because all the project managers eventually become Scrum Masters. No. So like, I feel like those like if you did it Ready Set Go, just this is totally, I don't know enough about it, but what I'm reading is Ready Set Go, Death March, and Supernova Release. Your first act seems like a good thing. You've got a build up. You've got the project, you got the problem, you got this buildup, you've got this major thing. Then you probably at the end of Supernova have an oh shit moment, I'm guessing. And then
I have an idea.
And then firefighting to Royal Rumble to hero culture, with the hero, him getting knocked out at the end, feels like a pretty big, good like event for the end of Act 2. Like, we've got to figure it out. We've got the guy. He solves it, and then blah, And then I don't see, you don't have other ones written, so an Act 3 doesn't really scream out.
So here's a consideration. These items down here, right? Because we're ignoring this stuff down here, right? These items right here, to your point, I think everything you said makes sense. All right. These items down here, I think, get interwoven into these items right here. And what I mean when I say interwoven, so firefighting already has 2 parts of the chapter. There's a firefighting part 1, firefighting part 2. Hence, you see this right here, firefighting part 1, firefighter part 2. I'm thinking that Supernova Release has part 1 and part 2, where the part 2 is going to embed firefighting, or is going to embed hero culture. Or firefighting is going to, firefighting is already too big. I think Supernova Release is going, I don't know.
I like I said, I like the chapters so far. So like, Raise That Go, Death March, Supernova, then this is totally without knowing. I'm just, the idea, the way you're describing it to me, like it feels like those 3 first in order, perfect. Then it feels more like firefighting, royal, then hero. Like the heroes come out of the fire, if that makes any sense. And the battle, the fire, and then the rumble, the battle, and then the heroes emerge.
Hold up, you're saying put
and then
hero
he dies. He doesn't die, but
you're saying put hero after Royal Rumble meetings?
Yeah. So like,
I'm thinking about this. I think we're thinking about hero 2 different ways.
Yeah.
Hero is a person that knows the system inside out, and they're the only person that knows the system inside out. They're not the hero that saves the entire software project. That's not what a hero is.
Yeah, but they know it inside out, so they're able to. I mean, the thing is, I think that the hero developers are able to. Like, it's a good thing as long as they're alive, and they're not the only one.
It's not they. There's one hero.
Yeah, there's one hero. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like, obviously, the you could make the entire second act the rise of this hero, like, not in a good sense, but in a bad sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then it leads to this, like, because you're saying, what your point is that if the hero gets hit by a bus, you're kind of SOL, right? That's with him collapsing at the end. That's what you're doing.
Yes.
Which feels like a pretty big moment to me, but I don't know what the firefighting and Royal Rumble.
So you're saying, did you say put it after Royal Rumble?
Actually, yeah. So like Royal Rumble, firefighting, hero makes a little sense. That thing.
Royal Rumble, order. Firefighting. Okay.
So because you have firefighting having 2 parts, right? And your middle act is supposed to be the longest act. But I don't know the contents. These are just me spitballing. Like, what I'm thinking about is your Royal Rumble meetings are, okay, we've released this thing. Now a lot of shit's going wrong. Everyone's fighting. Then now you're actually going and fighting those fires. And during this, like, the hero emerges, the hero, it's an anti-hero, really, right? Single, person with all the knowledge. And then I feel like you could have it that somehow this guy sort of saves the day.
That's not going to work.
he
Well,
could save
hold
the
up.
day, but then he gets hit by he gets hit by the beer truck, so he can't.
So Royal Rumble,
Yeah, and I don't know.
Royal Rumble has to come after firefighting culture, else there's huge rework because in firefighting culture, there's a revelation that's made about root cause analysis and how is a fire started, a fuel source, uh, oxygen, and I don't know some other factor.
Spark,
Um,
yeah.
and so that's the consultant trying to help the project manager understand that what he's been identifying are symptoms, but not the actual like source of the fire or the actual. There's symptoms to a fire, and then there's the fire, right? There's symptoms that lead to a fire, and then there's a fire. And so in Royal Rumble meetings, Melvin says, "Hold up, I learned from the consultant about how to fight fires and how it's best not to let those fires start in the first place by having preventive measures, detection, monitoring, etc. Meetings are just another fire. And so we need to dissect why these meetings are happening in the first place. So that's why I'm making an argument that Royal Rumble meetings has to come after firefighting. Else, I have to rewrite the chapter of
Oh
firefighting.
no, that's fine. Like I don't know the contents of these. I'm just going off of what my vague description of is, and then thinking about how could you create a narrative. I do think you're right though. Like watermelon reporting could probably fit into the death march, as could scope creep. Both of those could be woven into the idea because they both show up in a death march, right?
Death March is long. Death March. Hold up. Let me put that back.
Yeah.
So Death March. Oh crap. Hold up. Commit. So what you said makes sense. The challenge is you said in ready. You said put put it in Death March or Ready Set Go.
It seemed like those things are part of the death march, right? Like, hey, everything's going fine. Don't look over here. The death march is the red of the watermelon. And then the scope creep is what's causing everything to go
All
red.
right. So
Right?
you're saying what if we put watermelon reporting inside Death March?
Let the creep in. Like the name of the title.
Yeah, I just wrote that this morning.
Who's the creep? Sorry, I got totally distracted.
Do you know what it means?
No. Dude,
Okay.
the creep. Oh, I'm just
So
remembering this Lonely Island video.
the door is shut, the threshold clearly defined. Outside, a presence lingers, unwelcome, persistent, seeking entry into the secure space within. The initial boundary is firm, understood. The integrity of what lies inside depends entirely on maintaining that deliberate separation, resisting the urge to engage or accommodate what waits beyond. Yet, the pressure begins subtly, not with force, but with quiet requests that test the edges of resolve. A plea for a small concession, a foot tentatively probing the doorstep under the guise of a minor, reasonable need. Each query seems insignificant alone, easily granted, perhaps, but carries the implicit weight of setting a precedent, slightly weakening the firmness of the initial no. Here lies the critical defense, the vigilance against the seemingly trivial breach, understanding that even the smallest yielding, cracking the door for just a moment, allowing the one minor exception, can compromise the entire boundary. The security of the space relies not just on the lock, but on the unwavering refusal to grant those first small creeping encroachments. Does that?
I didn't understand a word of that. To be honest. I don't know if I just need more coffee.
No,
it's very atmospheric. It's written well. But
it tells me that I probably need to rewrite this. So that metaphor was meant to tackle the chapter of scope creep for a
I
product.
got you. I was thinking that when you said let the creep in, it was going to be somebody who they hire to try to fix what the now that Gary and John or whatever are gone.
Yeah. So the question is, do you think I should rewrite this, or does it now kind of make sense as a intro metaphor to scope creep?
Let me think. The door is shut. I mean, I like the idea of it. I just didn't. The problem is that I didn't put creep as scope creep because the hero, like a hero and a creep, are two kind of like anti or like opposite sides of each other, you know. So I because we were talking about hero culture, I interpreted creep as being like an actual person.
So do you think I should change the chapter title or
Oh,
change?
I love the title now that I realize it's about scope creep.
Okay.
Like, yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. I'll I'll
Maybe,
look at this one last time and I'll stop sharing.
yeah.
So
So what would the closing of the book be then? So we have this build up, they build the product, they release it, they have all these problems afterwards, which feels like the second act, and then you've got this third act to figure out. It seems like to me, maybe you've already got it figured out where.
I don't.
Is it? I mean, do we see does this end in a happy ending where the CEO gets replaced? Someone competent comes in and fixes it all, or do they cancel the project entirely, or do they go bankrupt? Is it a cautionary tale kind of a thing? That's kind of like what, there's a lot of good content leading up, and this is where I'm getting stuck in my own stuff. Is I have premises for a lot of things that I want to do. Like, I want to have a hero team up. I want to have certain characters that I've kind of outlined. I want to have this element between this gargoyle and this kid that is developed, and then I want the gargoyle to die for emotional effect. But it's just like the plot of actually how do they go from the first scene that I wrote, which I might just have to throw away, to some sort of big event, and I haven't figured out what that big event is. Like, what is their goal, the overarching goal of the people in the story? So I'm stuck. You sent me that thing about the hourglass with the middle. Like, I'm stuck over in the side where I've got all these ideas, but I haven't coalesced around a single theme and premise, or a set of themes and premise that I can use to guide the entire rest of it. So
have you asked ChatGPT? Because that's what I'm going to do, given your question.
I've asked a dozen different ways to try to come up with one, and every time the problem is that I think I might need to go away from either my buildup or what I want to do with it. So
my first thought, to answer your question, and then I guess we'll dive into more of what you've been doing, is the ending more than likely needs to complete the arc for Melvin, the project manager, Kwaku, the architect. There's another character, Victor, who's so he's like I don't know, he's a white guy. Everybody else is black for the most part, but Victor, the CTO, he's a CTO that's not technical. And so he has imposter syndrome, and that's his internal struggle. Anyway, to answer your question, I say all this because I want to complete the arc where all the characters that tend to have a chapter dedicated to their perspective or their internal struggle, I need to complete the book with them having a turnaround and closure. I don't know how that's going to be done yet.
Yeah, and I could see it half a dozen different ways, but it's do you have, just broadly, do you have a good ending, or some sort of we definitely learned something, here's how we changed? Do you have
I think it has to be
a tragic one where?
Nah, I think it has to be a good ending, because the book is trying to the book has an identity issue. It is trying to be an instructional manual, given my personal, with emphasis on personal opinion of how software projects should be managed. So it's an instructional manual, but the other part of it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde is it's meant to be uh, a a novel of drama, and
Yeah.
it needs to have a happy ending. Else, what's the purpose of having an instruction manual that doesn't give you a solution that instills confidence for those reading it for guidance, right?
Yeah. So does the bank go belly up? Does it fail, or whatever it is, the company? Because that's the only ending that's bad. Like that it has a has a meaningful impact. Like,
No,
what happens? I mean?
what happens in the story is the deadline is missed. It doesn't happen in 12 months. Titan Ledger does not get delivered.
Okay, so Big Bang Supernova release doesn't happen?
No, it happens.
Okay.
It gets postponed, right? There's still market pressure. It still gets released, but the release gets delayed, and because of pressure, when it does get released, there's still problems. There's still issues that need to be worked out. I'm already losing my train of thought. What in regards to the question of, does the project get rescued? Like, what do stakeholders, do corporate partners, like, does the project not get killed? The project doesn't get killed because stakeholders or corporate partners and investors, they see progress being made, even though the journey has been very hard and shaky. They see gradual progress with the products, and so they continue to stay in, but it's always a cliffhanger because they really want the project to succeed, and they don't pull the trigger and kill the project because they see gradual progress. And that's what's keeping the Titan Ledger project alive.
Yeah.
Does that kind of answer it?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. But the thing is, to me, is so the thing that I struggle with is the overall like theme of it, like the idea that, like, in the end, if this gets delivered, even if it's late, whatever, if it becomes a product that's useful and people use, and the bank is in business still, wasn't that a success? It was just the only problem is it was stressful on all the people that
it was not a success. This is the reason why that happens early in the story, like the third or fourth chapter. They release it, and just like healthcare.gov, just like Cyberpunk 74 or whatever it's called, in the story, it is a disaster. In the story, it talks about how there's it doesn't say tweets, it uses a rhyming word that are shared across social media that has hey gambler, that has screenshots or video clips of someone logging in and it just hanging, or some stupid like error messages for things that should just work. So it gets released, and then there's just a hellstorm of social media posts relaying disappointment with the product.
Yeah. But it was released, and the CEO kept his job, or did he? Like, the CTO keep his job? Did it have a role? I'm just curious. Like, what's the actual?
Well, it was released, and
Within the software team, everything sucks, right? Outside of the software team, there's definitely consternation or just not goodness, but is there any consequence? Like, probably not. I don't know.
uh,
Like,
the consequence is they lost customers due to trust.
mhm.
They no longer they're not recognized as an organization that is focused on delivering excellence. They have issues, and instead of addressing the issues before the release, they expose issues, and now they're no longer a plus company.
I
Is that what
got
you were
you.
asking?
So they're on they're like a fallen empire type thing. They're
Yeah,
gonna go down. Yeah.
yeah. Their reputation suffered. That's the consequence of them releasing. They're not out, but they disappointed investors. They disappointed customers. They disappointed their partners. But everybody is observing that the software is stabilizing. It's improving gradually after it's being released, just like Cyberpunk was.
So it's good.
I mean, you identified some gaps that I need to figure out. But yeah, what about your stuff?
Yeah. So that, like I said, I have elements like that. What did he call it? Like visiting the suburbs. I have like a lot of elements that I want to have, but the cohesive narrative or storyline is just escaping me. Like, what are they trying to do? Like, why do they have this big conflict? Where's the story going? I like that part. I was up,
Well,
thinking in my bed for like hours last night trying to
who are they
think of.
battling? Are they
So,
Are they battling a character, or are they battling a force? Whether that
yeah.
force is nature, whether that force is time, like what
So the setup. So the elements are there isn't kind of an evil force. And this is like, again, it's a fantasy story. I'm targeting maybe like a young adult type thing, more geared towards boys maybe, but I'm not firm on that because I feel like I could just take the characters and put them in a totally different setting or style and it'd be fine. So, but the idea is that there's this, and I've got to figure out. So there's this like witch who bewitches an empress and uses that power to like conquer other lands in search of these kind of ancient magics or whatever. It's kind of the bill. I haven't got the specifics of that yet, but I know what the empress's name is and Cerise and all that. And then there's this boy or this who's a prince, and his family gets basically conquered, like his country, because she's an emperor, right? So she conquers, or she's an empress. Um, Parents get killed, but he escapes with the help of this kind of like ancient bloodline protector gargoyle thing. It's like a marble gargoyle. Dude, if you haven't used ChatGPT to make concept art yet for what your
I did it.
stuff is, it's super fun.
It positioned. I used it to add my name to the bottom of the book cover. Well, I'll be very brief, and I'll get back to you.
Oh no,
Is
okay.
it did the following, which Gemini couldn't do, believe it or not. Is it took this right here.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up. So it took this right here, which is a square,
And turn it into a book
and
cover.
missing what's that?
Yeah, turn it to a book cover.
Yeah, and so it's a square. It's missing the author. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
Scott and Odie. You can see my disappointment. And it created this, right?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I could not get Gemini to add my name to the bottom right corner at all. It wouldn't do it. ChatGPT did it on the second attempt.
Nice.
And when I told it that it needs to be a book cover, it just immediately like updated the dimensions.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah,
I like this cover, man. I like it.
Yeah, it is really good.
I got to think about what the back of the jacket's going to look like in regards to the theme art.
You're not gonna put your your headshot with you going like this
Hold on.
or like this.
Nah, I don't like being on. Believe it or not, I don't like taking photos at all. It drives women crazy. And I got to figure out what the binder is going to look like. So when you have the book in the shelf, and you're trying to pick out a book to read, I still got to figure out what that's going to look like. I'm excited about this, dude. All right, we can get back to you.
No, it's all good. Yeah, no, I like the excitement. And I got to keep on track with all this stuff, and I'm committed to doing this. So I've got to just keep me going and honest on it.
Yeah, so I was out. You said it's not going to be a force. You said the nemesis or the antagonist is not a force.
And so ultimately it's this witch, right? Who's kind of bewitched this empress, who isn't that she's certainly like ambitious, but she's not evil. Like she would conquer a country and then, she wouldn't like kill everyone or anything like that. But she's basically possessed by this evil force or whatever. So this boy, then he gets this ancient protector. Now he's kind of like, the story starts, and this is where the thing, I have no idea where it's going. Where I landed was that the story starts with the boy kind of being chased by soldiers and running into a stranger. And he uses the gargoyle, and so we introduce to him. And the stranger is supposed to be kind of like a Aragorn, He-Man, Conan. He's supposed to be like an actual like certified
Action figure,
badass guy. Like he's supposed to be like a. What I want him to do is represent kind of like like the perfect dude, like I don't know how to say it. Something like little boys should strive to be this guy, because he's smart and he's wise and he's powerful, but he's not, I don't know, like I want like a He-Man or a Conan type character.
What about the Rock?
Yeah, or the Rock, or just people like that you should look up to, or you would want to play on the playground is a good way to say it. Like, oh, I'm this guy from this story, and I'm going to pretend to be him, and I swing my sword and all that. Because so I'm thinking back when I was a kid, I watched Conan the Adventurer, the TV. Like I have some of the DVDs, but Conan is a cartoon. I remember being on the playground in third grade, and I'd play Conan. And I'll tell you this: I had a friend, Jordan, and he was black, and I always wanted him to play the black guy from the Conan, and he always wanted to play Conan, and I like the pattern matching. I was like, no, you have to play this guy because
No, I don't think as children. Well, I'll speak for myself. As a child, I didn't really see color or skin color.
So it was here. If you just do a search for Conan the Adventurer.
But who's the black guy on Conan? What do you
look up? Conan the Adventurer is a cartoon, and you'll see that the first thing that should come up is a picture of Conan with a black guy in front of him. Zula was his name, I guess.
Let me see.
Played by Arthur Burger.
Conan. Is that how you spell Conan? C or K?
Conan, the Adventurer. Specifically the Adventurer, not the other ones. So like I said, this is a
right here.
A tale. He's a there he is. Yeah. So I watched this cartoon, and in the mornings, then I
Conan looks Native American.
Yeah. Well, Conan, I guess, is set in oh gosh, what was it? The time of like the Sumerians and stuff like that. It was like pre-modern Europe.
Okay.
I don't know what era specifically, but it was back when there was still like these big tribes and stuff like that. Anyways, I used to want to play Conan And like I said, my black friend Jordan, he would want to play Conan with me because he liked the show too. But I always wanted him to play this black guy, and I played Conan. But I didn't
How did that work out?
I don't remember. I think I remember it being like more like, but I want to play Conan, and then it'd be like, well, yeah, but you know, but like, look.
I don't think I've ever watched this.
So it's like if you watch it, it's less interesting than when I was a kid, obviously, because the storylines are very simple. But basically, there's this evil sorcerer Rathamon who comes down and he's trying to collect these star metal or something like that to build a portal or whatever, and he turns Conan's family to stone, and Conan's trying to basically fight back against them to save it, and he's got a star metal sword, and when he uses it, it will, bring out these lizard people or whatever snaky people that are Rathamon's things, and so he fights them. But he has all of these team ups. Like this guy, I don't remember what his name is, Zulu or something. He's one of the team ups, but there's another guy who's like more like a Nordic guy, and then there's like another gal who's like a thief or like I don't know, something else. But he has all these different team ups that I really liked. And then he's got this sword or this shield with a phoenix on it, and the phoenix can come out of it and talk to him, and he's kind of like the sidekick comic relief type guy. So I don't know, it was a cool. I have the jingle and everything, but I remember being like wanting to be like this big, like sword swinging dude. And I don't know that kids have enough of that kind of like stuff anymore. Like Conan and He-Man and those things kind of took a back seat to everything's made for girls now, or to be cross-gendered or whatever. So
that Matrix parody that you sent me on Twitter was hilarious.
I forgot what it was.
You want me to play it? I'll play it. I'm already shadow banned by YouTube.
I'm trying to remember what I sent you.
Yeah, for sure that wasn't on YouTube because YouTube won't allow that.
Oh, so I sent you on X. Oh,
it was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
The program designed to teach you one thing.
Can you hear the audio?
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
You're not one of us. You might marry one of them. What are they? Transformers. They move in and out of any gender, regardless of their chromosomes. That means that anyone coming out of the female bathroom is potentially a ladyboy. Inside the Matrix, they can identify as anything.
Look at all the people hair. Yeah, no, I remember now.
Oh shoot, I thought that was a big.
That was probably the end.
Oh, here we go. There, it's right over here too.
The Matrix is a system, Neo.
Subscribe to my OnlyFans.
That system is full of degenerates. When you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of the woke system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to pick up a biology textbook, and many of them are so nerds, so hopelessly dependent on their pronouns that they will type detective. Are you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the dude in the red dress? A dude? Look again. Who is it?
That's right. Gambler, I think we have to charge you 31 or 30% if you're going to be on this.
It's another training program designed to teach you one thing.
Talk.
If you are not one of us, you might marry one of them. What are they? Transformers.
Transformers.
They can move in and out of any gender.
Anyways.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so I've got Ludum Dare this weekend, so I'm going to be turning.
I don't think Gambler is in there anymore.
But so I've got that this weekend, but then I'm going to get back onto this bus. But the thing is, I need to bridge
He's here. Never mind.
I need a bridge from, because what I wanted to have is this team up thing where have you seen like the Seventh Samurai, or any of the like ones that use that format?
Oh, you mean the Last Samurai?
No. This Seven Samurai was like it's a specific style of story. Zack Snyder must be a fan of it because his Rebel Moon is basically Seven Samurai, and Justice League was Seven Samurai. He's using the same trope over and over again. But it's basically like in the Seven Samurai, the movie, there's these bandits that are going to attack a town. And so the town goes and finds 7 samurais to help protect it, who then train the town to fight back against the bandits. And then the bandits come, and obviously then there's the big battle. And there's cost to it, so some of the samurais die or whatever, but the town is victorious. But it's a team up type thing. Like you find all these distinct misfit characters, and then you have them all work together. What seems like a team that really shouldn't work, they kind of somehow all come together and are able to conquer whatever defeat is. So I want that kind of story, but fitting it over the narrative I have so far is it doesn't really work. Because the boy's running, like why would he need to collect people to go back and fight? Like what's his driving force? Like, so I have to have some sort of bigger stakes in the world. Like maybe they find out that he's got a piece of some sort of magic thing that the witch wants. And so then they decide that they have to get it before she does. And so now it's a race between, I don't know. I've got to think of that kind of bigger overarching arc, but I need to think of it thematically too. Like, what am I trying to say, or what am I trying to do with it? And does it fit in with the themes I want to get across? I don't know. So, but we'll see.
Sounds like it's following a routine formula.
Yeah, which is fine. I don't know necessarily that it needs to be like, I don't need this to be anything special more than I just want. Like if at first when I was starting to go down this road from some of my other ones, I'm like, I want to make something that, that a boy would be excited about,
So,
a younger boy would be like, I want to be that guy.
This isn't age appropriate, what I'm going to say. But a teenager discovers that he can make contact with an alien race, not through spaceship, but through mushrooms, genetically engineered mushrooms. And then he learns about the fate of Earth and the plans of this alien race to take over. That's the plot. Those are the characters.
There you go. That'll be your next book.
No, you're writing it.
No, but it is. I don't know. But I did have like a really good time just focusing on, like, I created a scene, and then I rewrote the scene, and then a lot using AI. But then I went in and started making tweaks and stuff, and I was sitting there and like every character, I'm actually trying to envision what they look like, what they sound like, how they talk, like actually learning about them or making them up. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, because you're creating your own world.
Yeah. So, but just I need to have some sort of like, I need to get that understanding of what the ultimate, like, what the big thing is, like the witch or whatever. What's her purpose, or does she just go away? And the Empress is actually evil. Well, what's her? Like, everyone's got to have these believable motivations, I feel like. So,
well, you'll go down a rabbit hole when you start watching YouTube videos.
Oh, I've done that. That's
no. You didn't even hear what I was going to say. when you watch YouTube videos on hiring a voice narrator.
Oh, yeah, no.
And for them to assume the different voices of your characters. Because yesterday I'm like, how big of a budget do I have to have if I have female characters and male characters? And so then I'm like, I'm on YouTube trying to figure out like hiring audiobook narrators. And I guess the common practice is just to have a single narrator.
Yeah.
That's good enough to portray their voices and having faith in the the consumer of that audiobook know that it's
Yeah, I think that's what they do in
not the man trying to sound like a woman.
I think that oh my god, 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can find the book I'm thinking of here. You should maybe just listen to this book. I wonder if I can share it with you.
Peace and War.
Just because of the way that the book is written is very similar to what you're trying to do. Here it is.
For Jeff, the spectacular conversion rate
So
on
this
the free
guy-
soup samples was too hot to ignore.
This
The more
guy
people
does
that tried
a
it, the more
narrator,
sales they got.
but he
Or
narrates
in the case of
a female
influencers,
and a male
they
voice
might
that are a
plug
couple.
heroic kitchens to their followers. He also knew that people with plant-based interests wouldn't throw away a perfectly good can of soup.
The challenge for me is I want a black voice.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard, right? Just do it yourself.
No. You don't understand. I need a black voice to voice women characters, to voice American, to voice African, and to voice more than likely Eastern European. That doesn't sound like one person.
Sure, it does.
Okay.
Just get that Winslow guy from Police Academy. He'll do it all.
I wonder if he's still alive. When you said Winslow, I thought you were talking about Eddie Winslow from Family Matters.
Oh, did you know there's a fan theory that connects Family Matters with it connects it with Die Hard, and it connects it with what was the first one? He plays a cop. Was it Terminator or something? Oh my gosh.
Are you talking about like degrees of separation? Is that what you're talking about?
No, so because he plays a cop in like all of these different shows. And so when you put them together, there's a narrative that you can apply to it. Oh yeah, because he's in Ghostbusters. So in Ghostbusters, he plays this cop, and he gets the Twinkie thing. Like, there's this theory that he gets the Twinkie talk behind from Egon in Ghostbusters, and then he has a problem and someone dies or something. I don't remember, but he goes and he lives in. He moves, and now he's in Die Hard, and that's why he likes all these toasted Hostess cakes when he's in the convenience store that he says is for his wife, but he doesn't have a ring on, so he's not actually married, right? And anyways, so then at the end of Die Hard or something, what was it? Yeah, something like at the end of one of the Die Hards, he has like a mental break, and that Family Matters is actually like him having this psychological, like he believes this is all happening, but he's getting tormented by Urkel, who is the kid who he got killed in Ghostbusters or something. Like, you watch it, it's a pretty insane theory. Like, it's cool though. Like, they chain it all together in a cohesive narrative about how Family Matters is that guy from Ghostbusters and Die Hard's. It's his psychological like world that he built for himself.
Family Matters is the black television sitcom, right?
Yeah. With Urkel.
But besides Samuel Jackson, what other black person was in Die Hard?
That guy Winslow, he was the cop. The first one, the actual Die Hard, not your thing. So Samuel Jackson was the third.
Eddie Winslow. Oh, okay. So Eddie was when I think about Winslow, I think about the son.
Oh,
Eddie
yeah.
Winslow.
No, I'm thinking of like I don't
father.
even know what his actual name is.
He died like 15 years ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Well,
Carl
the cop,
from Family
the father.
Matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the father, the cop, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
He's got this whole, like I said, he's got this whole story where they've put together that he's the same character through Ghostbusters, Die Hard, and then Family Matters. So
Okay.
um,
That's pretty much what Samuel Jackson is in every movie.
yeah, Steve Urkel was supposed to be like this this like temporary character that then everyone loved, and so they kept him on the show. And it's pretty funny because the show like we just called it Urkel. Oh, we're gonna watch Urkel tonight. We didn't call it Family Matters at all. So
What's fascinating is I don't remember him being in any movies. I remember him. I remember an attempt maybe like 20 years ago for him to have his own sitcom, but like what happened to him? He seems so, or is the fact that he was a childhood star and it just doesn't carry over to adulthood.
the guy who played Urkel,
Yeah.
I think he's been in a few things here and there, but yeah, I don't think it just didn't carry over.
I know. I binge watched an entire like day on the life of River Phoenix. You probably don't even know who that is.
No, I know who River Phoenix is. It's
Did we have this
Wakan
conversation
Phoenix's
before?
brother who died when he was young for, was it a drug overdose or something?
Did we discuss this already?
No, I just know about his story.
Yeah, he died in the middle of filming. I mean, not on camera, but he died during the filming of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
So then they had to recast him, I guess.
I think you and I did talk about this.
Oh no, because he played.
He grew up in
young
a cult, and I think he escaped the cult to be a child star or something like that. All right, Gambler. I forgot Gambler was here. All right, Gambler. Have a good weekend. I like the name River Phoenix.
Yeah, it is kind of a cool name.
I'm gonna rename my son. Can you like just rename your daughter or son? Like I changed my mind. I'm gonna
I think
name him.
technically you can. I mean,
I'm gonna name him River Nimrod. That sounds better.
River Nimrod. Every time I go through a town called Nimrod, I think, oh, that's where Scott should live.
Depends.
My wife thinks that you have the most white name ever.
Well, tell her my parents did a good job.
Yeah.
Has she seen me before?
Maybe she's seen like YouTube
Okay.
icons or something like that, or maybe I showed her something. And she's like, "What's your friend Scott?" That's a really white name. Like, white
Scott. My brother's name is Brian. My sister's the only one that has a black name. Charisse.
Charisse.
Yeah.
How's that spelled?
Cherice.
Okay. Because there's a French name, Cerise, which is what I'm using for the Empress's name. She's got this bluish skin, dude. It's so much fun to make like I said, not splash art, but concept art. I just show you
For your book cover, or are you making a graphic?
No, for the actual, like, what do these characters look like? Just to get an idea of what they look like. Let me turn 1 second. Let's see if I can find the. What the hell? Why am I not finding my? It was like called movie poster ideas or something like that. Oh, maybe I can search. Oh yeah, here we go. So like, I don't know if you can see that really well.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah, like you can, like, just creating different characters and imagining what they're going to look like, and then being like, no, I want them to look more like this or like this, and then actually getting an image.
This should expedite the time it takes to deliver video game releases.
Oh yeah, it should. I think that's one of the things Elon Musk wants to do with X or Grok. Here's the like gargoyle type protector guy.
That's manly.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's supposed to be like this kind of tall protector type thing, but he's ancient. And he's kind of got like a grandpa attitude. He doesn't talk much, kind of a thing. But he's enduring.
It's fascinating. I mean, we're really in 2025.
And then I was looking originally maybe like a hero like that, kind of He-Man or whatever.
That's gay. It looks like Fabio. I can't believe it's not Bod.
I know it does look too much like Fabio. I think I actually put that in their list. Make him more like this, less like Fabio at some point. But they keep doing it. Like,
and you said you're using ChatGPT or Gemini?
Yeah,
Gemini is better.
No, ChatGPT's new images.
I mean, I said that wrong. My bad. Sorry. I meant to say ChatGPT is better, surprisingly, but they weren't like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, they weren't. They just released it. They said they got after they released that, they got 1 million new signups immediately, which is probably why it's like hard to get. It's so slow
I couldn't get Gemini to put my name on the bottom right-hand corner of an image. It couldn't do it.
Yeah. Oh,
but
Cameron's got a goop.
Yeah, he said that like 15 minutes ago. ChatGPT takes probably twice as long as Gemini to generate the images, though. That's the trade-off. So
yeah, it does take a long time.
If Gemini takes maybe 20 seconds, I've waited almost a minute for ChatGPT to spin up something.
Yeah, it could be that. Although ChatGPT, I think certain concepts it gets better. Like it's better at just producing more accurate images of what you want to do. But it could be that you do fast iteration in Gemini or in any other AI that's fast, and then you come through and do a upscaling with ChatGPT. Oh, it's been a while. I haven't gone back to Midjourney. I wonder how that's doing, but I don't have a huge need for a lot of images. Although it does suck when you're trying to do like when you want to do concept art in it, so you can get an idea of what these people look like and give them some sort of image to them, and then like you run out of your credits right away. So,
yeah, I could totally see.
Or not credits, but
I could totally see myself going into the comic book.
You throttled. Go ahead.
Yeah, I really appreciate your feedback on.
You're gonna go in the comic what?
Comic. So I could really see going into the comic book and experimenting with that.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. As long as you can get character continuity, which ChatGPT is able to do, somewhat.
Well, I mean,
I think Midjourney might too.
I would basically adopt the Dilbert style of comics, and I would just modernize it for today. Because Dilbert was in the software shop, right? He was a programmer.
Yeah. It's still going. I follow Scott Adams on Twitter, and I've read his books. But yeah, he's in an office. No deal. So,
all right. Well, it's been real. Thanks again for your feedback. I think I'm just going to incorporate the remaining chapters into the existing chapters as like part 1 or part 2 of existing chapters. So we'll see.
I'm trying to think if you have anything missing. Yeah, you got to get going. But all right. All right. See ya.
Well, to summarize, you identified that I need to figure out how to have a finale if the climax is, well, I forget how we worded it. Firefighting was like the peak, and you wanted to know how it would finale. And I said, however it does, it has to have a happy ending. Else, it's not much of a instruction or guidance manual.
Well, or it could have a really bad So like you could go a lot of ways. That you could have a good ending where they learn something, and it turns it around. So you go like you like recover, you know, or you could have a bad ending where everything really just and it's a cautionary tale, or you could have a flat anticlimactic ending, which would give it more of a none of this actually matters at all kind of ending. Like but it depends on what I think you're trying to say overall. So whatever your core thing you're trying to say is, figure out the ending that best fits that core thing.
The only thing that I probably gave 10 minutes of my life dwelling on in regards to the ending was, in the low probability that I do get some traction of readers, the monetization part of how to make the ending transition into another book in the series, or is this just a one book and that's it, and my writing career is over?
You keep going. We'll just keep going. Let's just make a pact that we keep making books until.
Well, the thing is if you write a book and that book is like part of a series, then that increases the likelihood that readers are going to buy each book in the series, right?
Yeah, it's
instead
like
instead of writing a separate book, then you have readers that may have read your first book. They don't care about the second book. But if the first book is part of a trilogy or part of a series, then they pretty much are invested to get all of your books, which increases the likelihood of you making more money.
Yeah, it's the episodic, but it's also probably a sunk cost thing. Like, because if your first one's really compelling, then it's like, I want to read the next one. Actually, what I should do is adopt the Hardy Boys structure, where they have a bunch of little short books.
I remember being at the grocery store and seeing those books on the racks.
My dad used to read them to me when I was a kid, and my brother used to read it. And then I remember this one moment where he was reading it from me to us, and the author in it wrote, then Chet pulled a big boner. But they used it in the like to pull a boner or something like that is not what we think of it. Like it actually means like to flub or to fail or to like screw up. That's like there's got to be I'm gonna look up and see if I can find the definition. I've got to do this on my personal device though here. 1 second. Maybe Google will tell me. But it was used and that just became hilarious to us. Yeah, it's a stupid mistake is the informal North American definition of boner.
Oh man, I pull my boner.
Unfortunately, someone pulled a major boner on this one. It's like a bonehead. So it was derived from boneheadedness, and then adding ers. So someone who's boneheaded commits boners.
Yeah,
big mistakes.
I'm sure there's people that pull their boners all the time.
Yeah, so the Hardy's Boy author used that in one of his books, and my brother and I could not stop laughing after that.
On that note, I have to get back to work.
All right, yeah, me too. All right, see you, bye.